get started. And we are recording. Welcome, everyone. This is Joe Martinez for our production call on Thursdays. Super excited about this one. First, a couple of things I love to cover. One, this is a 1 hour call, and I want to make sure everyone benefits the most out of it. Highly, highly recommend go grab a pen and notepad, right? It's a lot of information. You're going to want to take a lot of notes. Something that I always love to always say too, right, is whatever you learn today, do not go and change your entire right script and how you go and help a family, right? You're already helping families, you're already writing applications, right? This is just to help you help more families. So what you want to do is take some really good notes, pick 2 or 3 things that say, hey, you know what, I'm not doing that in my appointment, or I'm not doing that working these leads, and this will help. That way, right, it just advances you a little bit more, right? Don't go and change your entire process. Also, right, before you change anything, always consult with your upline, right? I'm just giving y'all best practices that we see a lot of folks do. And then one of the biggest things is, right, the hard part is going to apply it to your appointments, right, as of today. So just make sure, like I said, pick 2 or 3 things and actually go put it into your appointment. Don't sit here for an hour and be like, oh my God, that was a great call and I learned a whole bunch of stuff. And then you go do the same appointment you have been doing, right? Make sure you apply it. That is actually the hard part, right? Because the change is difficult and we refuse to do it. Trust me, I do it myself all the time. So just write just some really good best practices. And then what we humbly ask is anything that you do go apply to your appointments and it does help you help a family. If y'all can post that on Band because other agents see it and then they go apply it to their business too, right? So we're one big community and I love to make sure everyone's helping each other. So that's my humble ask. And we are going to get started. We're going to talk about 2 things today. It's going to be workflow of leads. If you were on the national call yesterday, right, they're talking about how they're going to start best sending leads to the higher performers, right? So that means if you're not helping families, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get leads. The whole purpose of that is the last thing anyone wants inside of Symmetry is we don't want you investing in leads and grabbing leads and not being profitable. Okay, like it works too well for you not to be profitable, and so this is where I love to coach, but it hurts a little bit of feelings, right? I'm the basketball coach, y'all the basketball players, and I'm going to tell you because I want y'all to win, right? If you are not profitable right now with your lead investments that you're consistently doing in a 4 to 6 week period, you have to understand that's your fault. Okay. You don't get special leads. It's not your state. It's not the lead you bought. It is the way you are working and you refusing to change some of the things you're doing, right, to find the success. There's too many people making money off of these leads. Way too many people. There's way too many people making 10 times ROI on these leads, right? You just have to be willing to say, hey, you know what? Something's wrong and I need to change, right? So we're going to give y'all again some really good best practices, but you have to understand it's not the lead. It is you. Something has to change. And these are the 2 biggest things that we know affect, right? How do you get your ROI? So we're going to do the second one is going to be the production mindset, right? And our story with strawberry milk, because I promise y'all it works. But the first one is going to be the workflow, right? How do you handle bonus leads? How do you handle standing lead orders? So this is gonna apply to all leads, right? So this method works for every single lead. So the really cool part is I'm very well connected with Symmetry and all agents everywhere in Symmetry. And what that means is I have talked to Digital Lead folks. I have talked to Razor Ridge, Level Up, right? Call-ins, mail-ins, bonus leads. I have experienced in all, and I have been beta tested just about every single lead out there that Symmetry has ever created. So I'm not making any of these numbers up, right? Like I'm just telling y'all what it takes to win, and it works, right? I promise y'all, I have been very highly profitable in our leads, and I love to help an agent get there. Is it easy? Absolutely not. So if you think this is easy, get off this call, quit, because I promise you it's not. It's going to take some work. Now, the cool part is once you figure it out and break that wall, it becomes a lot easier, right? And it doesn't get easier, you just get better. right? That's the truth. So we're going to start with workflow on leads. So we're going to start with, again, this is any kind of leads. Okay. You should always have, right? Like, how many leads am I working currently? These are numbers y'all want to write down. You should never be working more than 40 to 60 leads. Okay. You cannot physically work more than 40 or 60 leads. I promise you, right? One of the biggest mistakes a new agent does, or a frustrated agent does, is they're like, oh, I need to go grab a crap load of leads. And you go get 100, 200, right? 50-cent leads and be like, I'm just going to work them all. And all of a sudden you work them all and you didn't get anything. And you're like, hey, these leads suck. No, they're just too many leads to work, right? The way we make money off of our leads is we got to get them to pick up, right? You got to be able to resolve the lead. And one of the biggest mistakes we make is we have too many leads, or we're working too many. Now, here's the really cool part. If you look at your batch right now and you're like, holy crap, I think I may be there, right? Like, I have 100 leads that I can't, it's okay, right? All you have to do is grab your most current 40 to 60 leads and start working them in this process. And I promise you, this is going to work and you're going to resolve, because your job throughout the week, right? Every week is to resolve about 70 to 80% of the leads that you're calling right now, right? So why I tell y'all you can't work more than 60 leads is just simple math, right? So first, and I'll do a show of hands here because I want y'all to see how many folks here consistently throughout the week dial more than 300 leads a day, dial 300 dials a day, right? Do y'all see all these hands up? There's none, right? There's very, very few. And I want to give you all the math on this, right? So if you're at the high end of these 60 leads, so if I have 60 leads today and I triple dial them today, right? And your goal is to call them twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, right? Because you don't know if they're working in the evening or working in the morning. So if my goal, if I have 60 leads, yes, I'm going to call them, I'm going to triple dial them, and that is a must. Okay. If you're fooling yourself, I promise you, if you're like, no, I'm going to double dial, I'm just going to hit them a few more times. Hey, fall in love with these results. More 50% of your bookings are going to be after the second dial, and then half of those are on the third dial. So if you're only dialing twice, you're missing anywhere from about 25 to 50% of your booked appointments. Okay, y'all fall in love with that. Think, right? Everything else, when it comes to working leads, it's all about emotion, because every agent I have ever talked to starts with, well, I think I'm going to bug them. I feel this. I feel that. Yeah, it's right? It's you. You're the one that feels that. They don't care. You're just a number that's calling them. Well, I'm giving you practices of how you're going to get this resolved, right? So I have my 60 leads for today, and I'm going to call them in the morning. And so let's say it's 60 and I triple dial them all. If no one answered, that's 180 dials. But people are going to answer. Okay. So I'm going to say you're probably anywhere in the world of 120 to 150 dials to get to your entire batch of 60 leads. Okay. So write that number down, 120. We're going to go bare minimum, 120 dials to dial all 60 of your leads. Okay. That was just in the morning. Now I want to get my same leads. I resolved a couple, so maybe now I'm down to about 50, and I'm going to triple dial them in the evening, right? And if I triple dial 50 leads, right, that's 150. Again, I'm going to say some folks picked up in your results, so that's another 120 dials. So it's 160 dial, or 100, or I'm sorry, 60 leads, 120 in the morning, 120 in the evening. You're past 200 dials already. So I'm just teaching y'all, if you have 60 leads and you're not dialing 200 plus, you ain't working your leads. You're not going to have the results you're supposed to have. Fall in love with that number. That's why I stress 200 dials or 6 appointments for tomorrow, because you're not trafficking your leads. Because this is what happens when you dial, right? And I'm just loving on all of y'all, right? When we see, hey, I dialed 50 dials today, 75 dials, 120 dials for the entire day. This is what's happening to your leads right now. If I have 60 leads again, and I only dialed 95 dials total for the day, that means I did not go through my entire batch of leads. right? So Daniel, you follow me? That means I got to about 40 of my leads maybe, and there's still 20 I didn't even touch. So what you do is, hey, tomorrow, Friday, since I called these first, I'm going to start with the other half, right? And then you go through those, and you probably don't go through all of them either, right? Maybe you did 95 dials on Friday. The only thing the client experiences is a random phone number call them once Thursday morning, and maybe they see your phone number show up again on a Saturday or a Monday, because that's when you got to them again. They're never going to pick up. Y'all have to understand that they never see you. You are a random phone number that calls them every 3 or 4 or 5 days. I tell y'all this because we can look on our ninja dialers, and that's us that are dialing 150 plus. We still see our leads get hit that few times. So if you're not putting up $200 a day, I'm just telling y'all, right? Yes, you're going to get a few people that pick up, and hopefully, I pray that you write a policy, but the odds are just not on your side, right? And what happens is you're like, man, I'm not getting the results. Like, how are they writing 6, 7 apps in a week, right? It's just math. We're trafficking the crap out of our leads, right? What you want them to see. So what does a client that's trafficked properly sees is they see Roger's number in the morning 3 times. And guess what? I was at work. Roger triple dialed me. So I saw, but I didn't answer because I was in the restaurant, right? I just got to my phone and I saw a number 3 times, whatever. Went back to work. Then later in the evening, and I worked the mid shift in the restaurant, right? So I was still at work till 10 o'clock at night. And so hopefully he called me again at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. and he triple dialed me again and I didn't answer. Now I see that number again. I'm like, damn, 6 times in a day? Somebody's crazy, right? Then Wednesday comes around the next day and I see the same thing. But now I'm starting to recognize like who keeps calling me from a 928 number. Finally, when I do have the phone in my hand, and if he's done it for 3 or 4 days, if you're doing that properly every single day, twice a day, at one point you're going to catch them with their phone in their hand. And they're going to be like, I'm just going to, hello? And then you're going to go into the script, and all of a sudden you've resolved the lead. But y'all have to understand the client experience if you're not dialing that amount, right? It takes a lot of dials, right? And you have to understand that. And it's the same thing for the digital world. If you're working, right? Just a text message becomes a call, right? So if you're texting, right, if you're working digitally, it's the same thing. You need to have 200 reach outs, right, for the day. That's either, right, you double dial them, send them a text, you double text, send them a call, like whatever you want to call it. You got to have 200 reach outs to try to reach out and talk to somebody. Like Brian Pope, the owner of the company, said, oh, it's simple what we do. We have conversations. So you have to analyze your day. Did you have a conversation with somebody today? Right? How do you increase your conversation? You got to dial more, right? You got to send more text messages if you're working the digital lead. It doesn't matter. You have to have a conversation with folks. So I love to just remind, right? Again, that's 40 to 60 leads. If you have more than that, just break it down. Grab your most current 40 to 60 leads and start working that process. Look, what we do is we beat up the phone. It's nothing special. Look, I'm grateful when somebody reach out and says, "Hey, Joe, you're really good. You're a top producer, and teach me what you're really." I am not. I promise you. Like if you look at pound for pound, right? Like Elijah, Nate, Amber, like they're a lot better than me. If you ever hear Paul Jones run an appointment, like that dude is a G. Like I suck. Okay. The beauty about this system is I can just outwork my suck. Okay. I just put in a ton of activity to have massive results, right? Because I'm just going to figure it out and I'm just going to put in the work. Look, I got 4 kids, a wife, a house, and 2 car payments, right? Like I'm going to figure it out and I'm not going to leave it to chance and hope that I just get better tomorrow. I can just outwork my activity here and invest time and money and get insane results. That is the beauty of our system. The leads work. There is no better lead. We send somebody a letter, and the only way we got their phone number is they gave it to us. So I don't care what the lead is telling you. I promise you they're lying. You're too busy trying to make that one person that finally answered because you're not putting in the activity, make that the one. And that's not fair for that lead or yourself, right? You're like, man, I could have said something different. How did I overcome an objection? I love it when an agent calls me and says, hey, Joe, how do you overcome an objection? I'm like, I don't. I hang up and I call the next person, right? Because every single person that let me write them in January, 44 applications for 44,000 in instant approval, all of them just said, hey, Joe, yeah, go ahead and do that one. I didn't convince anyone that as soon as they said, well, I'm like, hey, sweet, sounds like you need to think about it. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we can reschedule the next one. On to the next. Bye. I am a doctor. I call all my appointments late. I call all my interviews late. And I have one of the biggest organizations and I write more premium than most because I just stay busy. That is the magic of it, right? You got to fall in love with these numbers because they work insane. It is super cool to watch this when y'all make a breakthrough. It's insane, right? I want to talk about the wall of production for a little bit here. The wall of production is every agent, when you come in here, you have your first wall. And that wall is how do you get profitable in this industry, and it's production. Okay. The really cool part is there's only three things that matter to figure out how do you get over this wall. Okay. Everyone has it. What's on the other side of this wall is insane income today. Every single one of you can make $20,000 in deposits this month on your own PIN. I promise you. I came in here and I was able to do that. It took me about 6 months. After 6 months, I was making $15,000 to $20,000 in deposits. And it was these three walls, okay? Write these down because I promise you, the cool part is it's the same three walls for either one of you. Which one it's for you is what we don't know. The first one's going to be activity. You have to, right? It could be activity. I don't know if that's for you, but it may be your activity. Your second one is going to be investment, right? Either you got to go get more leads. And then the last one is training, right? You can't expect to make doctor money in 2 months when a doctor, right, takes 8 years to go get a college degree. Here, it takes a couple of months, right? It takes some time to invest in yourself. Now, the really cool part is activity is just dials, right? You just got to put up a massive amount of dials until you figure it out. Or you got to have a budget strong enough to say, I'm going to invest on better leads so that I can have better results. And then the last one is you got to go get trained, right? Now, I love to be honest with y'all. We had a cheat code when I started. The cheat code was we actually had to drive to somebody's house. What that allowed us to do is every time I got in my car and I drove to somebody else's house, we called it a rolling university. So I was always listening to SoundCloud audios on training on how to be better in my appointment. So I want y'all to think about that. If I had 6 to 8 appointments every single day, and I had an hour to get to the first city because I live in a little town, every single day I was listening to like 3 or 4 hours of training every single day, right? Has everyone ever heard of Kobe Bryant? I love how Kobe Bryant says, hey, I just out-trained everyone, and then it was good luck for them to catch up. Because he said, hey, look, most players get here and practice once in the morning, and then we have a game in the evening. And he said, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm at the gym at 4. I practice till 6. Then I go have breakfast. Then I get back at the gym at 11. Then I go have lunch, and then I'm back at the gym at 4 or 5. He would put in 3 practices a day versus everyone else, maybe 1. He was just bound to get better, right? Y'all have to give yourselves that opportunity. And here's the cool part. I wish I could say I'm the greatest trainer in the world, right? Because that's my heart. This one production call a week is not enough. If you're like, hey, I'm struggling, I want to be a 40K, 30K producer, and the only thing you do for your production is show up to this one call, like, hey, thank you, I'm flattered, but this ain't it. Right? Like you better be practicing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like do whatever it takes. Right? There's tons of SoundClouds. The really cool part when you go into SoundCloud, if you're like, hey, I'm struggling with my show rate, there's a show SoundCloud. If you're struggling with in the home, there's an in the home SoundCloud. If you're struggling with, hey, booking appointments, there's booking appointment SoundCloud. There is absolutely one for everything you need, right? That's what I did. That, in fact, everything I tell y'all is from all those SoundClouds from hours of day of driving around to appointments that I've just, right, has now stuck into my head. I would listen to each SoundCloud 3 to 4, 5, 6 times if I liked it. And I would just get nuggets every single time and I'd go apply it to my appointment. I am not magic. I am not good. I promise y'all, I've just done a ton of training, right? Because I have had to overcome. I came from the restaurant business. I'd never done a sales presentation. I never sat in front of somebody and had to go through a presentation. I was super nervous. I just trained the crap out of it so that I can get good, right? And that's the opportunity that every single one of y'all have. Um, the next thing I want to kind of hit on, right, is okay, I'm getting trained. Now, am I following the system of workflow? Because this is very important. I want y'all to have the highest yield of, if you're going to dial, you have the highest probability of booking appointments, right? Because your minimum goal, and you're going to hear this word a lot, minimum goal is 200 dials for the day, 6 appointments for tomorrow, right? Either or. Now, here's the thing. How do I increase my odds of having my 6 appointments? Because at the end of the day, it's the 6 appointments of whatever it takes, right? So if I have my batch of leads, who am I going to call first, right? So that you don't randomly just start calling your leads. That is not a system. The first people you call is your newest leads. A new lead for you is just simply, right, it could be a bonus lead. It's just a new batch that you have gotten this week. Somebody you haven't called, right? Someone you've never called. That's considered a new lead for you. That's the first person you should be dialing, right? Your first batch of leads, right? Once you finish your new leads for today, right? It could be 10, it could be 12, 30, whatever it is, right? That you got in, that you haven't called. The next batch that you should be calling is your no-shows. Okay, I promise you, you're fooling yourself if you're not calling your no-shows. Again, quit, because you're not going to have an ROI that you're supposed to. Okay, get over your ego. You have to, your number 2 people that you call in order is your no-shows, because of the system and the process of sales. Okay, nobody makes a sales on the first contact. Okay, if y'all look at sales training, it's a 12-touch process. Okay, most sales are made after the 4th to 12th contact. 80% of all sales in the world are made after the 4th contact. Okay, what does that mean? Is you got to put them through that process. So when you call them and you book them, that's 1 touch. Like, sweet, I booked them for today. They no-showed me. That they're supposed to do that. Don't get your feelings hurt. They're supposed to no-show you. Then I'm going to call them later this evening when I'm calling my batch again, and I'm going to book them for tomorrow. And guess what, Steve? I expect them to no-show me. They're supposed to. Part of my sales process, they're supposed to no-show me. Again, don't get your feelings hurt. Doesn't matter how great that conversation was last night. Hey, I know you missed me. Yeah, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm definitely going to be there tomorrow. Right, I have my kids and this and that, man. I promise, I pinky promise, I'm going to be there, Amber. I swear. Okay? Sweet. I expect you to no-show me. Now, finally, Friday, I'm going to call you again and I'm going to rebook you for Saturday morning or Monday. Now I expect to have either a presentation or to possibly close you. They don't show me again on Monday. It's still expected. We close our cases on the 3rd to 4th rebook. Fall in love with that process, because then you get to embrace it. Once we learned that, holy crap, our close rate went through the roof, because now every single time on that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th one, right, when I call them, I'm like, hey, Haddon, showed me yesterday. I just want to make sure tomorrow you and your wife are going to be there. Oh, no, I'm super sorry, Joe. Yes, I'm like, oh, okay, no worries. Yeah, it's because, I forgot we had my kids' baseball practice. I'm like, sweet. For me now, it's an information intake. I'm building rapport. So tomorrow when they show up, I'm like, hey, how was that baseball game? Right? Don't treat it as a no-show and you're upset. Treat it it's another contact, and it's a way for me to get a little bit more resources that I'm going to be able to use. Right? When you change your mindset on that, it becomes so much fun. I don't care about no shows. In fact, I love it when an agent calls me and they're like, how do you have 12 appointments today, Joe? I'm like, they're every 30 minutes. How are you supposed to show up and you're going to no show, right? They're like, I'm not going to make it. I'm like, I wish, Amber, every single one of my appointments showed up and I was late. That I would be a billionaire right now
That would
if
stress
everyone
me
I
out if it
booked showed
actually
up.
happened.
I wish that would happen. Look, I have a 30 to 40% show rate. That means if I have 12 booked appointments, I'm excited if I sit with four because everyone else, right? All the other ones just went from step one to two, right? Some of those were three to fours, whatever it may be. So I'm excited, right? Like, how are you treating your business? They're just part of the process. I'm not supposed to sit with 12. I'm supposed to have 12 contacts so that I can close some move to stage two, some move to stage three, some move to stage four. It's just a process of a workflow, right? Once you start understanding that, you'll fall in love with the process. The next thing, right, is making sure you're calling your leads again twice a day, right? So yes, that means you're calling them 6 times, right? I'm going to triple dial you in the morning, triple dial you in the evening. If you don't have appointments and you're a brand new agent and your schedule's empty, you should call them 3 times. Once in the morning, once at lunch, once in the evening. Yes, I am telling you to call them 9 times in a day. Your job is for them to see that phone number and pick it up. If you're not getting blocked, if you're not getting hung up on, you're not doing this business right. That is your job. Your job is to go through the script and get hung up on or book an appointment, not to explain what this is, right? Like that your job is to go through that process. Because if you try to explain what this is, right, and defend our lead, they're going to tell you, no, I didn't. Now what do I tell them? I call them a liar? What do I do, Daniel? There's nothing you can do, right? They're just going to lie to your face. So I want them to hang up on me because if I stick to the script and I don't care what they say, I continue my script and try to book the appointment, they hang up on me. I didn't burn the lead. I get to call them tomorrow and hopefully tomorrow they're in a better mood and they'll listen to what I say, right? Because as soon as you try to defend the lead, I don't overcome any objection. I want them to hang up on me so I can go on to the next one. I'm not explaining anything. They're going to let me talk and finish my script and book the appointment. As soon as you say, Allie, no, you call the number on there and this is for mortgage protection and blah, 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 and all this stuff, they'll be like, no, I didn't. I don't have that mortgage. No, you're done. That lead has to be thrown away. What are you going to call them tomorrow and say, are you sure you didn't call? You can't do that. If they hang up, you can absolutely call them right back. You can call them tomorrow. You can call them the next day because you didn't get to establish why you called, right? There is so much magic in that process, right? So just fall in love with that. Again, we write on the third to fourth rebook. Please write that down. You're supposed to get no-showed 3 to 4 times. You just got to track it, right? Just know where it's at because then you get excited about it. Then it's like, oh, John and Mary, sweet. This is the third time. This is the one, Micah, right? Like now I'm ready to write them because they've moved through that process, right? Um, the next one is okay. So what if in those touches I actually ran my appointment and they gave me a think about it? Guess what? We get a lot of think about it. What you cannot do is just have random think about it's out there. Okay. If they really want to think about it, you need to get a yes or a no right there before you rebook it. So, hey, you did a great job. You ran your appointment and they're still telling you think about it. You need to get your no right there. The reason you don't, I'm just telling you why I didn't, is I was scared, Micah, because they would say no and it was trash, right? Guess what? We get 90% no's, 10% yeses. Fall in love with them no's. Okay. So if you ran a great appointment and they got you to the very end, now it's a think about it. You have to get a hard reschedule. What that means is, hey, Micah, I just want to make sure. Is this something you're still interested in? Most people, when they tell me they need to think about it and talk to their dog, talk to their wife, talk to whatever, is usually a no. I've done this for a long time. Is this something you're interested? Well, you know what, Joe? No, it's not for me. Great. Bye. Have a great day. I appreciate your time. Get your no. Do not let it sit out there, and then don't even rebook them. Right now, if they tell me yes, very few are going to say yes, Micah. And they're going to say, no, no, Joe, we really want this. I don't buy in the first time, whatever it may be. Let me look at my other policy. I really need to look at this, whatever it may be. Okay, great. So then, hey, Micah, tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And if it's early in the day, I'm telling them, hey, today at 5. Like, you don't have to think for 2 weeks. You don't have to think till next week. Okay. It's simple. You die, it pays, and we cover your spouse. Okay. There's nothing to think about. Don't let them fool you. If you did a right job, they can't even tell you I need to look at my budget. Because if they tell me, Tickle, well, we need to look at my budget. Well, I'm looking at your budget right now, and you had $3,000 spared, and you put $500 a month, and Mary only brings in 2,000, and John, you told me you were making 8, and your expenses going out are 5,000. Mary has nothing. Is that the budget we're talking about? I need my yes or no. You have to stand with confidence of what you did in your appointment. Now, if you can't do that, guess what? Get better in your appointment, right? But no one's going to tell me they need to look at their budget, because I'm going to be like, well, we just did. What, you need 10 minutes? Hold on. Water trick. I'll be right back. You get 5 minutes, right? Like, I'm going to get my yes or no. Chris Cook taught me this. Stop chasing leads. You're wasting your time. You will make more money getting your no and dialing new leads, booking a new appointment, and writing somebody, versus chasing the same person over and over and over. Do I have to think about it and reschedules? Absolutely. Right. But there are hard reschedules. In fact, the one I wrote yesterday, my one app, was a Monday appointment. I ran him at 10 a.m. and I said, hey, you sure this is something? No, 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 Joe. Yes. I just want to make sure what I have in my other policy. I'm like, all right, David, you sure? And he's like, yes. Okay. To Thursday or Wednesday, I think I had him at 1 o'clock. I called him. Those are the best appointments. I called him at 1, and I'm like, hey, so did you make a decision? He goes, yep, let's go ahead and do that one for $68. Perfect. Right. On to the next. So just fall in love with that. Get your hard no right there and then. If they're giving you a think about it, it must be rescheduled. Do not leave it in the air. If they're trying to tell you, no, 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 I'll just get back to you, Sharon. I got your phone number. I tell them very clear. I'm like, hey, look, if I don't have you on my schedule, I'm not following up with you. I just want to be clear. Is this something that you're interested in? Yeah, but we'll call you. That's a no. Okay. They're being polite. Okay. They don't want to tell you no. They're being polite. So I just straight up tell them, okay, great. Look, so if I can't get you to schedule for Thursday, Sharon, I just want you to know, right, I'm going to take you off my list. If this is something that you ever, right, want to do, you can call me back, but I will not follow up as of today. Are you okay with that? Yes, I am. Bye. Right. Get that out. You got to throw away leads, because what you're supposed to do is every Saturday you go get more. Right. So you re-up your leads. You cannot have too many leads. You're gonna have too many every Saturday. Um, and then I want to finish up with how, on your workflow is expectations. Okay. How many, show of hands, how many want to write 20,000 a month in production and issued? Okay. Y'all have to love this process. Okay. Because when an agent tells me this and they're like, hey, yeah, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, I'm like, okay, what were your dials yesterday? And then they tell me, and it's not 200 or 6 appointments for tomorrow. That means you're not even doing bare minimum. Okay. Listen to what I said earlier, minimum. Okay. So what we teach a brand new agent is you got to come in here and you're going to have to grind it out. Bare minimum is 200 dials or 6 appointments. And really the terminology is until, right? Until you have your 6 for tomorrow. But listen to this, 200 dials. So when a James or an Amber calls me and like, Joe, we're going for 40K this week. I'm like, sweet. What were your dials yesterday? They're like 205 and I have 7. I'm like, man, I'm proud of you. So you're telling me you're going for 40K, but you did bare minimum? And you can ask Amber or James. I told them this. I'm like, so you did bare minimum, but you want extraordinary results. I'm like, good luck with that. Like, I'm proud of you. You did what I teach a brand new agent to do, 200 dials.
It
Like,
hurts your feelings a little bit, but then you get over it and you go and do the
right?
work.
Y'all got to fall in love with this term, okay? And I'm going to give you my bare minimum. This is my agency, right? Everyone's a little bit different, but this is the agency and my opt. Bare minimum are agents that are maybe dialing 206 appointments for tomorrow. That's bare minimum. If I look at, I had 64 writers just right now, month to date. So I'm just giving y'all the 20 and below, right? The bare minimum, they have two apps for 2 grand. So if in a month you want to write two apps for 2K, bare minimum is 200 dials, 6 appointments for tomorrow. Good luck. I'm giving y'all the numbers, right? Then I have high performers that are willing to do extraordinary activity for extraordinary results. This is why I fell in love with Symmetry, because you have the opportunity to do that here. Because in the restaurant business, Susanna, it didn't matter how many hours I stayed there, how many dishes I bussed for my busser, how many tables I helped. It didn't matter as a manager. My salary was my salary and it never changed. Didn't impact or my effort did not impact it. Here at Symmetry, my impact and my effort rewards me in my wallet. Okay. If y'all look at my January numbers and everyone's like, oh my God, you were insane. No, I dialed 6,800 dials in January. 6,800 dials in January. It sucked. But you know what? My bank account said, you better go dial some more, buddy. You better go dial some more. Okay. Y'all got to fall in love with that terminology. Extraordinary activity is the only way you get extraordinary results. If you're dialing 200 dials or booking 6 appointments for tomorrow, that's what we train a new agent to do for bare minimum. And in my opt, bare minimum is two apps, 2K for the month, right? So you pick your hard, okay? Now, here's the really cool part: extraordinary activity, extraordinary results for the agents that are dialing 300 dials plus, not every day, but quite often, right? So that means they're dialing about 1,200 plus a week, 30 apps for 30K. Now, here's the thing: there are only 4 of them so far for the month. You pick what you want to do. Here's the cool part. Now, here's the really thing, the thing I love to tell everyone before we get off this subject is it doesn't take 80 hours a week. Get good at consolidating your time. You should be dialing anywhere from 50 to 100 dials an hour. Yes, even by hand, right? You just need to consolidate your time. You can absolutely do that. Don't think that takes forever, all day, right? No, it does not. You're tricking yourself. You should be very focused. If an appointment doesn't show up, you replace it with two. You should be dialing anywhere from 50 to 100 dials an hour. It does not take you a 12-hour shift to make that kind of money. If you look at my hours, it was 40 to maybe 50 hours a week, if that on production, if that, because that's also including my interviews. 40 to 50 hours a week is what it took me to deposit on my own personal pin last month, right? And I'm giving y'all numbers as a brand new agent, over $20,000 in deposits. That's a 40-hour work week on average. Okay. And I suck. Most of y'all are better than me. I promise you, you sound better than me on reading your script. I don't care because I know I can outwork it. Right? So fall in love with those numbers. And I want to open it up really quick for about 5 minutes. Anyone have anything on activity, workflow, no shows, right? Any questions on that?
Not a question, but I think this will be beneficial to touch on, Joe. How hard was it for you when you were in Mexico to put in the work and still hit your goals?
It wasn't, right? I was sitting on the beach running appointments, right? In Mexico on the beach, I wrote 10 grand too, right? I just sat, ran my appointment. They know, in fact, everyone sent confirmations, Amber. I was like, I got to go. Jumped out of the pool and ran back to the room, ran my appointment and went back to the pool, right? Like you can do this, right? All kinds of way. I love Nicole. Nicole's great, right? She's got so many kids and she still figures it out. She'll stop, get back in front of her computer, work, and then goes dials. There is no limit, right? Like stop thinking, right? There's a limit. I can only dial so much. I can only do this is uncapped income, uncapped activity. I remember some of my really good employees in the restaurant were like, please, Joe, please give me more hours. And I'm like, I can't. No one tells you you can't here, right? I just look. I needed to make money when I first go. Why are you not working on a Saturday or a Sunday if that's what you need to do, right? You're the only person that says, "Oh, I can't dial after 5, or I can't dial after 6, or I have my kid here and I can't dial." Tell Nicole you can't dial because your kid's with you. I dare you, right? Like tell yourself anything like I got to go pick up my kids. I have 2 baby mamas. I got kids split 2 different families. We have to pick them up, drop them off. I'm in an office. Like we figure it out. It's all an excuse in your head. I promise you, it's your work ethic. Figure out what you want to do and what you can and what you're willing to do for the income that of uncapped. Because I promise you, it is insane what you can do here. I've never seen anything like that. Any questions before we move on?
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In resolving your lead, after you know you want to get rid of the lead, can you delete it out of switchboard?
I don't know about switchboard. I don't use switchboard because switchboard's not a dialer. It's a communication system, right? Like it's built to text message and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure you can D&D it or something like that.
Yeah, I've D&D'd them, and because like I have leads that I resolved and I just want to get rid of, but I don't know how to get them to
If
where
you
I
go to
don't
the if
lose.
you go to CRM and pull up the lead, you can just delete it completely out.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
thanks.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I
Anyone
have
else?
a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, so I'm learning how to organize everything. That's probably the hardest part for me right now. But I have a notebook of no-shows, and every day I go through it. My question is, the people that no-showed me, can I call them um every day until I get them on the books, or do you call them like a certain amount of times?
There is no limit to what y'all can do. There is no rule. You blow them up every single day.
Okay.
Too many folks get tied up in the process of I'm gonna burn my lead. Okay.
Yeah.
Usually the folks that are telling me that, Amanda, are not resolving their leads, right? So it's the same thing,
Yeah.
right? Because you're never gonna get a hold of them or you burn it, right? Like is there really a difference? I want y'all to think about that, right? Is there really a difference of burning my lead or never getting a hold of them, right? Because guess what? You didn't get a sell, right? So
Yeah.
just there's no rule, right? I mean, be courteous, right? Don't call them at 10 p.m., right?
Yeah.
But I would definitely triple dial them every day until they pick up. So if somebody no shows me, they go back to my list and they're going to get called identical to everyone else. Triple dial in the morning, triple dial in the evening. We don't have appointments during the day. They're going to get hit 3 times in the day, right? They just go back. If you no showed me at any point, you are back to the same list as a brand new lead, right? We
Okay.
just have an order, right? We're going to call the new ones, then my no shows, then my active leads, right? That haven't picked up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you use an auto dialer or do you use your manual on your phone?
So I have a Ninja dialer.
Ninja dialer?
Mm-hmm. Right. Which will be the funnel coming out soon, right? But for new agents, right, y'all just got to use your phone for now.
Okay.
Yeah. And don't worry, I used my phone for the first 2 years here at Symmetry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So after you do the 40 to 60 leads, let's say you happen to do that in the first week or half of the first week, like in your first 4 or 5 days, do you get a new batch of leads on top of that, or what
Yeah,
would
it's a great question, right? So when you're down to 30, you want to re-up it to 40 or 60 again, right?
okay,
Depending
take
on
it
what
back
you're
up to
willing to do.
40 or 60 again after you?
Yeah, you don't want to dial less than 30, right? So if you, right? So new agents, if y'all bought 10, 15, 20, 30 leads, realize it's a little tough to follow the system, right? And it's not the leads, is you're not following the system. The system is you got to have 40 to 60 leads to call, right? Because if not, you just don't have the traffic, right? You can't get mad at because if you buy anywhere from 10 to 25 30 leads, those could just be the no's, right? And guess what? You just resolved 30 no's, but you didn't have enough in your batch to find the yeses, right? So when you're down to 30, re-up it, right? Or if you have a standing lead order, it should just re-up itself on Saturday, right? Or whenever it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that was a great question. Anyone else? All right.
I got a question, Joe.
Yeah.
Like knowing where you are now, like doing what you've done, is there anything specific that you could go back and like kind of tell yourself when you first started out, or one thing you kind of wish you knew?
I would have dialed more and bought more leads. Because I was scared, right? I was like, oh, $150 or right. And even though I was dialing like my first couple of weeks, like 700 to 1,000 dials a week, I wish I would have just gone straight to blow. I got into a producer mindset, right? When like after my first 6 months of the client's not going to outrun me. There was you couldn't the client could not outrun you, right? Like if you're not getting results, you're just letting the client, right? It's a game, right? They're running away, you're trying to get a hold of them. And when I just wish I would have invested in more leads and dialed more. That's the only thing that's going to make y'all go faster.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Joe.
Joe, I have one more. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, all right, David, I'm sorry. Just a quick one. How many of you think about it and that are like, yeah, I'm actually really a think about it? Like what percentage of those actually convert?
So if you run a presentation and you don't close it, 10%.
10? Okay.
Fall in love with it. I don't care if you wrote the app and you're waiting on the bank info. I don't care if they pinky promise swore you know where they live and they right y'all exchange blood. I don't care what, it's 10%. Right? If you've ran the appointment and now it's a think about it, it's in the 10% bucket. David?
Okay, so since they're changing like the way they're doing the leads, what would you suggest would be the best batch of leads to get as a new agent?
So they're not changing the way you can get leads. They're just restricting the leads to agents that are just buying leads and not writing.
Oh, okay.
So long as you follow this, I promise you, you will resolve leads and write apps.
Okay.
All right. So they didn't change anything. They're just restricting agents from, right. And no, I don't think anyone in our organization, there's other organizations where folks have like 50, 60 standing lead orders and they're not writing, right. And they have it for weeks, months, and they're not writing anything, right. Because whatever, I don't know, crazy. So, all right. Well, we're going to go. The last thing I wanted to touch on, Miss Nicole, you've been asking for this forever, right? Y'all have heard us joke around about strawberry milk, right? And really, it's just a mindset, right? I know we've given a couple of classes, right? Look, y'all heard everything I told y'all today. One of the biggest things is you. You are in your way of thinking you're a top producer. I promise you, right? Like there is nothing on the other side of why you don't write 25K. It's because you don't believe you do, right? You don't believe you can. A lot of it is like, I'm going to try to dial, right? It's hard. I can't, right? Like you're the only person telling yourself that. Every top producer that we have helped get there, at the end, they're like, I'm like, what did you change? They're like, I don't know. Joe, you told me to say I'm a top producer, and all of a sudden I was a top producer, right? The joke we have about strawberry milk is, right, if you're reading books, you have to, right? So the subject is a producer's mindset, right? A top producer's mindset. And it's all about sales, is all about your head, right? Like, because you are sad because you're getting no's. This is not a physical job, right? Construction or my car wash was a physical job. I don't know why I decided Micah to open a car wash in 120-degree weather. So I was trying to shampoo carpets, pouring in sweat, physically scrubbing car. That's hard. Okay. Look, this is my tool, right? Like it ain't hard, right? Like it's mentally hard. So if you are not reading books, you're gonna beat yourself up. Okay. You have to get stronger mentally, making sure you're reading. But then a lot of it, right? When we learn that, again, what are you learning out of your books? It's just mental. What are you attracting? Right? I I don't know if you're religious, if you're a believer, whatever it may be, but right, I just believe in there's something out there that we can attract, right? And you have to believe that, okay, for yourself, okay? Whether it's science, right, or whether it's religious, it's still attraction, okay? We're all one molecule, we're all some, right? We have the law of attraction. Now, here's the thing. If you're like, man, these are sucky leads, I can't dial, I'm struggling. Every time you say a bad thought, I don't know if y'all know this. I forget what book it is, and I'm probably beating this up, but it takes like 12 to 15 times to replace that one. That one. And if somebody knows the actual number that's in that book, whatever it was, right, y'all can put in the chat. But every one bad, so every single time you say, I can't write 10, right? I can't write 10 grand this week. It takes like 15 times to literally tell yourself, no, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And you have to outdo that in your head. Okay. So the term strawberry milk is because if you really want things, has any weird things ever happened? Like, man, I was just thinking about this and all of a sudden it happened, right? I was just hoping this and all of a sudden it happened, right? The term strawberry milk comes from, I'm sitting in my office over here and I've always had really good luck attracting stuff. And my brother and my sister, I'm like, man, I really wish I had strawberry milk. For me, I love strawberry milk. It's my favorite thing in the world. Don't laugh at me, Rick. I love strawberry milk, right? I don't know if y'all know this, strawberry milk is not common, right? Like sometimes you go to a grocery store, gas station, they don't have it, right? It's always chocolate milk. So strawberry milk is a little more rare, right? Strawberry milk the next day showed up into my office by itself. Now, here's how it showed up. One, I thought about it the day before and I really wanted it. But the story is my mom walked in with a bag of strawberry milk. Even weirder, all of y'all went to public school that did, right? You know, the little milk cartons of milk. Have any of y'all ever seen strawberry milk in that milk carton? Because I had never seen strawberry milk in those little milk cartons from school. I've only seen chocolate or white, right? The blue and the red white. That's it. I've never seen strawberry milk in that little carton. My mom walked in with 6 of those into my office. And if you know my mom keeps everything. She does not share. She'll go to my house and take all my stuff, right? I love her, right? But the fact that this is the one thing, so what happened was this is during COVID and my kids, right, go to school, but they're not going to school. So the school districts were dropping off their lunch at the houses, right? And they know that's where my kids would go from my mom and dad's house. So they already had made the drop. My mom said, it's later in the afternoon and somebody's knocking on the door. He knocks on the door and it's the bus driver. And he said he had leftover stuff. And so he gave it to me because he knows we have 4 kids, right? I have 4 kids. And she goes, and so she didn't want the strawberry milk. So she brought that. So out of everything, she had oranges, bananas, right? Like little lunch stuff, whatever, regular chocolate milk and white milk, right? And these strawberry milks. Out of everything she could have brought me, she brought me the strawberry milk. And it was in this weird little carton that I have never seen in my life. Look, call it whatever you want to call it, right? I'm just telling y'all strawberry milk is real. You can attract what you want. And the day you start attracting being a top producer, depositing $5,000 a week into your bank account is when that's going to happen and never before then. So you can do all this training, but if you don't believe that you deserve it and you can, I promise you're not. You are your biggest obstacle, right? The mountain is you. You have to believe you can do this. The reason I have always been able to invest, right? Philip, you said, what would you do different? I would buy more leads and dial more is because I believed. I have been in the position here at Symmetry at the beginning where I only had $400 left and it was either pay my car payment or buy leads. And God bless my wife because I said, Sandra, this is where we're at. What do you think? And she's like, do you think you can do it? I'm like, I know I can. She goes, then why are you asking me to do it? It still gives me goosebumps to tell y'all that. Because I did, and I wrote 5,000 that week. And I deposited $2,000 and I knew I had the belief that I needed. Y'all have to believe. So Nicole, that's what strawberry milk is. Right? Y'all have to, It's the simple thing of attracting it. You have to put, if you're not using band to say you're a top producer, you're missing the boat here of what we are as an organization. We are here. You're not letting us root for you. Ask Steve Devine. Steve Devine was my underwriter in the field. Okay. When I started here and I saw a Symmetry leaderboard of 10, 15,000 a week, I'm like, I started posting back then. It was GroupMe, I think, Steve, right? And every single week I posted, I'm going to write 10K. I'm going to write 10K. Micah, I never wrote 10K. Months. But every single week I typed that because I knew I could. And let me tell you, one week I wouldn't write. The next week I'd write 2. The next week it was 3. The next week it was nothing. The next week it was 4. The next week it was 8. The next week it was nothing. The next week it was 12. 6 months later to hit a 10K week. Y'all just have to believe in strawberry milk. And here's the thing, if you don't have a goal, if you don't believe in yourself, you can't strawberry milk it. Right? You can't just wake up and say, I'm just going to randomly dial today, right? That's why you got to track your numbers, know what you want. You have to have a business plan so that you can say, I'm going to strawberry milk this. Look, we've been talking about my income here the past couple of months that they've been putting on band. I strawberry milked the crap out of that. In October, I was making about 30 grand a month. And I was like, I can do more. Why can't I was stuck there for almost a year. And I'm like, nope. I started right, and we have a little leaders chat, and I'm like, I'm depositing 40 grand. I'm depositing 40 grand. The first month I deposited 40 grand. The next month it was like, well, 40 grand. Why did I think so small? Because that's the joke of strawberry milk. When strawberry milk showed up, my brother James and my sister's like, why would you strawberry milk? I'm like, well, for me, that was that. He goes, you could have strawberry milked $1 million, fool. Right? You also got to make sure you're strawberry milking something big. Stop asking for 1 app. Ask for 6, and hopefully you get 4, and you ain't in a bad spot. Right? Like, goals are meant to be missed, and it's the journey of trying to hit your goal that finds you success. December, Amber, was I'm going to deposit 50 grand, $52,000 in deposits, and I didn't do anything different. And now January was like, should I even try? You know what? Why not? Strawberry milk is real. $60,000 in deposit. February 2nd, when my bank closed, it was $67,000. I give all of y'all permission to strawberry milk the crap out of your business. Go ask for 10K weeks. Go ask for big stuff.
All of last year, from the beginning until I actually hit, every day I was posting AO run. I'm an agency owner. I'm an agency owner. And as you post that, you might not hit it first few times, right? But once you actually believe it, you put in the activity and you hit whatever your goal is.
You just got to look, you ask, right? I'm going to say the word God. Look, you ask God for it. You're not supposed to worry when it shows up. Just keep asking for it. It's going to show up. I promise you. It's going to show up when it needs to show up. It's the same thing for your deposits. It's the same thing for your premium. It's the same thing for your business. I've been asking for a $3-4 million organization, and it's coming. We hit it last year. Now I'm asking for a $20 million organization. I promise y'all it's coming. Allow yourselves to dream big. The production is hard. Get over that part. You're going to have to put in a lot of work. Get over that part. Right? Are you willing to do it? Is all you got to ask yourself, to allow yourself that you can make insane money. Every single one of you, I promise you, $20,000 in deposits on your own PIN. The only reason you're not doing that right now is because you don't believe in yourself right now. I hope today's strawberry milk allows you to believe in that kind of income, because I promise you it's real. Symmetry is the place to do it because no one controls you here. Everywhere else, you had to ask permission for more hours, for more inventory, a bigger work area, whatever could have affected your income. You don't have to ask anyone for permission here. The only thing you got to ask for is help. The strawberry milk will come. So I hope this was a really good call for y'all, right? Strawberry milk, the crap. I'm telling y'all, use band, post you are a top producer, post what you want to write this week, and continue to post it. Continue to post it. All of January, I posted my numbers just because I want y'all to see what's possible. I promise you I'm not special. I'm just willing to work for what I know me and my family deserve. That's all we're willing to do. Strawberry milk will get us there. So thank y'all.